You're watching the Sun Belt Conference on ESPN as we welcome you to downtown Atlanta and Center Park Credit Union Stadium, where the Marshall Thundering Herd have come to town to take on the Georgia State Panthers. And good afternoon. I'm Matt Stewart, joined by Sam Crenshaw. Marshall comes in here 4-5 overall. They're just 2 wins away from bowl eligibility, which would be a big deal for this program considering all the turmoil they went through at the end of last season. Meantime, Georgia State head coach Dell McGee, been a long, hard season for the Panthers. They're still trying to scratch out an FBS win here today going into their home finale.
Indeed, Matt, a lot to play for both teams today. But for Georgia State, it's senior day. You want to get a win for those guys, you got to put together 4 solid quarters of football today.
For Marshall and their quarterback, Carlos Del Rio Wilson, homecoming, he played the final game of his high school career here in the stadium when he led Cartersville to the state championship game, and he's had a good one season with the Thundering Herd.
He has taken command of this offense. You see his numbers there from last week against James Madison. Yes, indeed. He wants to put on a great show back home today.
For Georgia State, T.J. Finley back in the starting role at quarterback following the injury to Cam Brown against Coastal Carolina.
You know what this guy can do. He took over last week in the game against Coastal Carolina. He wants to have a good performance today. The key to that, connecting with Ted Hurst. That happens. Great chance for Georgia State to get that first conference win.
And it is a warm November Saturday afternoon, 72 degrees. I was down on the field talking to the coaches a few moments ago, Sam. It is hot down there. These guys are going to work up a lather pretty quickly.
We couldn't envision this happening back earlier in the week, right? We had freezing temperatures around here Monday and Tuesday. But thankfully, it is excellent football weather today and should have a great game, I think.
So the Panthers won the opening toss. They have deferred to the second half. And so Georgia State will be kicking off. McAllister will take the kick for the Panthers. And he's been pretty good this year. 29 of 33 kicks have been touchbacks. And Turner Bradshaw standing deep for Marshall. Will watch it sail over his head to the back of the end zone. And so Marshall will take over at the 25-yard line to start this ball game. There's head coach Tony Gibson in his first season, talking to him this week. They're 4-5, but he was really still disappointed that they didn't win that James Madison game last Saturday. In fact, he feels like they could be as good as 8-1 on the season, the only one being that Georgia game that they were not in. He feels like they've been in every game and could have won 8 of those 9 games this season. So there's Del Rio Wilson going to hand off to the wide receiver, Lacey, and Lacey's going to get 3 yards on the play, make it 2 yards on the play up to the 27. Carlos Del Rio Wilson, 5th-year senior out of right here in Atlanta, started his career at McEachern, then was at Cartersville, started his college career at Florida, then Syracuse, and now he's at Marshall. Toss goes to Roberts. Antoine Roberts, coming off last 2 games, have been the best 2 games of his career. Had a good game against really good game against James Madison last Saturday. He's close to the first down, gets driven out of bounds at the 33.
Coming off his first 100-yard performance against James Madison, that was great for him, great for this team. Got a 3rd down here.
3rd down and 2 for Marshall. That's Payne, the tight end, in motion. Handoff goes to Roberts, and Roberts going to be close to the first down. They're going to spot him short. Didn't get there. Stopped at the 34-yard line. Needed to get to the 35, so it's 4th down. Antoine Roberts, 77 for 439 on the season, 3 touchdowns, and a 5.7 yards per carry average, but half of those 439 have come in the last 2 weeks.
Seeing something rare here for Georgia State, an early 3-and-out for this Georgia State defense, Matt.
Nathan Totten on to punt for Marshall, and Javon Robinson standing deep for the Panthers. Totten, the redshirt sophomore out of Ashland, Kentucky, averaging 44.5 yards per punt. Socks it out of there. Robinson calls fair catch and makes it over his shoulder at the 8-yard line. 58-yard kick.
That was a deceptive
for Totten.
It didn't start out that way, but he just kept carrying. Talk about the kicking game. Really one of the strengths for this Marshall team.
And here's Dell McGee. What a long, hard season it's been for him. 4-17 now in his second season as the head coach of the Panthers, and you could just tell the disappointment in his voice as we talked to him this week, because we all know, and he knows himself, he's a much better coach than what this team has shown with that 4-17 record.
Absolutely. A great coach and a great recruiter, and that's something else that's driving him up the tree. We'll get into that later.
So Finley, as they spot the ball at the 8 for the Panthers' first possession. Play action, fires, and it's dropped by Hollier, the tight end. TJ Finley, in his 6th season as a college football quarterback, has completed 63% of his passes for 993, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and that's why Hugh Jackson, the offensive coordinator, said he's got to take care of the ball today. 2nd down and 10. Handoff goes to Simmons. Jordan Simmons out across the 30, the 40. Simmons, the 50, might go the distance. Jordan Simmons, oh my goodness. 92-yard touchdown run for Jordan Simmons. How did that happen?
And he made it look simple. He just goes to the left side. Let's shout out to the left side of that line. He was out there working for Mason Cook and Tyler Williams on the left side of that line. He went around that edge and was gone. There was nobody there.
I kept looking for somebody from Marshall to enter the picture, but they never did. A 92-yard touchdown run for Jordan Simmons. And Liam Rickman on for the PAT. Kick is up, and the kick is good, and the Panthers have a 7-0 lead less than 2 minutes into this game. Sam, what a run by Jordan Simmons. Like you said, there was nobody out there, just a foot race, and he was the only one in it. How about Jordan Simmons with the longest touchdown run in Panthers history, 92 yards as he took it to the house from the 8-yard line.
So impressive. And we talked with Coach McGee about Simmons is really taking that step forward to establish himself as the lead running back in the running back room. And boy, he showed you a little something here to start this game, Matt.
Well, that's a good way to do it right there. If you're going to be the lead running back, play like the lead running back, and he certainly showed that. His last couple of games, he was hurt early in the season. Last couple of games, much like Antoine Roberts, has really played well, extremely well, separated himself from the pack the last couple of games. 7-0 lead Panthers. And McAllister set to kick it off again. And this will be non-returnable once again as it hits in the back of the end zone. So Marshall comes out to the 25-yard line, but this time they're down a touchdown. Sam, let's take a look at the impact players when the Herd have the ball.
Well, we've seen both of them touch the ball already. Antoine Roberts, we talked about the game he had on the ground last week, and then Lacey, he is a big target for Carlos Del Rio Wilson. Kendrick Walker has really asserted himself on defense for Georgia State. Jabril Rose Nelson is doing great things up front for them as well.
Yeah, both those guys coming off strong performances against Coastal Carolina last Saturday. So 1st and 10 for Marshall from the 25. That's Lacey in motion behind the line. Del Rio Wilson fires, and it's going to be caught. And that's going to be Lacey. No, that's going to be Tamarez with the catch. Or Tamarez, pardon me. DeAndre Tamarez with the catch at the 35-yard line. That'll be a first down. Play action, Del Rio Wilson to the air, and a one-handed catch attempt over there on the far side. Falls incomplete. That was Norton, the target.
Tried to go up there with that one hand, couldn't haul it in.
That was Tyson McCrary, the former Walton Raider, in on the coverage. Run by Del Rio Wilson, and he's going to get stopped at the 41. And that's a dimension that Del Rio Wilson brings to this Herd offense. He's their leading rusher.
Giving you a reminder to start the game. Don't forget about me. Here's 3rd down.
3rd down and clean pocket going deep down the sideline. Flag out. Falls incomplete at the 15-yard line. Let's check the penalty flag.
Offside. Defense number 13. 5-yard penalty results in a first down. Number 13 was in the neutral zone at the snap.
Scott Broadway, our referee today, and Jabril Rhodes Nelson, one of our impact players. Impact players aren't supposed to do that, Sam.
A little too anxious. Wanted to do some things and end up costing the Panthers. First down.
Yeah, 1st and 10 for Marshall by way of penalty at the 47-yard line. Del Rio Wilson on the keeper, and he's going to be met right there in the hole by DeIcy Hopkins and a couple other friends. 3-yard pickup right up on the 50-yard line for Marshall.
.45 Keelan Butler also in on that stop.
DeIcy with 32 tackles, 3 TFL on the season. Del Rio Wilson fires incomplete, looking for Lacey at the 41-yard line. Fillmore on the coverage for the Panthers. It's going to be 3rd down. Marshall 35% on their 3rd downs, next to last in the conference. Del Rio Wilson, clean pocket. Now it breaks down. He dumps it off complete to the tight end Payne. Payne stumbles down at the 46. It's going to be 4th down. Now
he had 2 receivers out there, but he goes for Payne. The tight end just loses his footing.
Coach Gibson talked this week about not being as conservative offensively and defensively in their play calling, but this is the 2nd time now they've faced a rather 4th and short, and they're going to punt the ball here.
Being predictable is what he said. You've become very predictable at times on offense.
So Totten, who boomed a 58-yarder his first time, sends this one end over end. Robinson will let it hit, and it's going to kick into the end zone. They're going to rule that a touchback. 47-yard kick for Totten that time. Came very close to downing it at the 1. Panthers will have it at the 20 when we get back. 55 years ago yesterday, 75 souls were lost in the Marshall football program and the community of Huntington in the crash of Southern Airways Flight 932. Yesterday was the
and loved everything about
ceremony.
The sporting community and the fact that Marshall was located in Huntington and brought so much to it.
Privilege and honor for me as an alum to be participating in this service. Pray your blessing. We'll just watch over every single one of you today and every day of your life. Live
Back
your
to
life.
live action as the Panthers complete the ball to Hurst out there on the edge. That was the fountain ceremony there on the campus of Marshall University, commemorating and remembering that tragic loss of life on November 14th, 1970. Last week they had the 75 game for the 75 who died on that flight. You see the 75 emblazoned on the side of their helmet.
Hey, Matt, if you ever go to Huntington, West Virginia, you have to go by to see that fountain. One of the things you have to see if you go there for a game.
Handoff, and that's going to be Peyton. Or DJ Braswell right there on the carry.
Simmons once again.
Simmons once again. As we take a look at the impact players when the Panthers have the ball.
Yeah, the football. First of all, Boogie Trotter, my goodness, the reputation he has, one of the top defenders and leads the nation in interceptions. Hudson also does a great job in the defensive end. Simmons we've already seen, and Hurst already has a catch today.
3rd down and 1. Handoff goes to Simmons, and Simmons picks up the first down at the 31. So 1st and 10 Panthers at the 31-yard line. So just a really tough day. The team went through and participated in the ceremony, and then ironically, they jumped on a flight to Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. And Atlanta being a place many people, we got a player down right now, Georgia State.
That is one of the offensive linemen, DeAndre Duffus, tried to get to the sideline but couldn't.
Due to an opportunity, Georgia State is charged a timeout. Their first. 30 seconds.
So the Panthers charged with a 30-second timeout here because Duffus couldn't get to the sideline. But just a really emotional week. Last week was the 75 game, and that was the game they lost to James Madison. And then this whole week, ceremonies, and then on Friday yesterday, the fountain ceremony with many members of the families of the lost participating in that ceremony. And as you know, we were talking with Coach Gibson, on that day there were 78 orphans. 78 children got orphaned in Huntington on that day of that crash.
Yep, and that's just an amazing story, but still true to the university and true to that reputation and what they're known for. They proudly preserve that tradition and that heritage for the football program at Marshall.
So 1st and 10 for the Panthers, ball at the 31-yard line. Finley going up top, and a jump ball, and Hurst cannot come up with it. Step-for-step coverage right there by Marshall as they had him covered. Daquan Smith was running with him.
Hurst is no secret. Every team in this conference knows to prepare for him, and if you want to slow down Georgia State offensively, you want to try to make him as much of a non-factor as possible. And in spite of that, he's still having a great season.
Yeah, that's what's amazing is he's at the top of everybody's scouting report, and he still has a big game every week. Simmons on the carry again as he gets up to the 35, gains 4 on the play, going to be 3rd down.
Am Smith 0 in on the stop that time for Marshall.
Ted Hurst second in the Sun Belt, averaging just under 95 yards per game. That is 6th in the nation. He's going to be an NFL draft pick, probably a second-day draft pick, and it's going to be a big deal for him. It's going to be a big deal for Georgia State. Finley spins and fires, and it's caught by Hurst in a 1st down at the 43-yard line.
Those are the things, if you're in a scout, National Football League, you watch and see how versatile this guy can be. You just saw him attempt a deep ball pass. Here he is with something that's going to move the sticks, a possession guy. It's a very forgiving target. Catch radius because of his size.
So 1st and 10 Panthers at the 42.5. Heavy rush. Finley steps up in the pocket, fires downfield, and incomplete. And that was once again Smith running step for step with Hurst inside the 10-yard line. And when I said it would be a big deal for not just Ted Hurst, but also Georgia State, the big deal, and we talked about this with Coach Dale McGee this week, the big deal would be it shows you can come to Georgia State and you can realize your goal of getting to the National Football League.
Absolutely. And being drafted into the league. Had a number of players who've gone from Georgia State, but be drafted on day 2 would be huge.
To be highly drafted, probably a second-round pick. But you never know. I mean, there's still a lot to be said as far as the draft prospects. He's going to go to the combine. Who knows? He could blow up into a first-round pick or he could drop further. I mean, that's the whole – everything you do in your college football career is a setup for, you know, that draft status and then, of course, the combine and all the individual workouts. Panthers 45.5% on their third downs this season. They're 6th in the conference and facing a 3rd down and 7 right here. Finley sidearms it. It's complete. That's a 1st down. And Marshall comes up with a catch. That is Jalen Marshall with his first catch of the season. A 22-yarder.
What a time for that. When everyone's watching Hurst, it opens things up for the possibilities for others. Marshall taking advantage of it here.
Marshall's out of Hamilton, Georgia, and Harris County High School transferred here from Shorter, which is a D2 program up around Rome.
Another D2 prospect making it as a receiver, just like Hurst.
So 1st and 10, Georgia State, ball at the 33. Toss goes to Simmons. Simmons on the short side, down to the 25. Tackle made by Kerryon Martin.
Shout out to the right side of that line. Jeremiah McCrimmon starting at right tackle today for Georgia State. Simmons looking very at home, Matt. You talked about how all season long been trying to establish this role. Seems very comfortable in it today.
Indeed, Finley pump fake and then throws it away. He was hit as he was throwing. I think he threw it away, or maybe it was just the ball went errant as he was hit by the defender. Yeah, he was hit by the defender. He was actually trying to get it to Simmons out there by the sticks. Jalen Parker, the linebacker, 5th-year senior. He's a Georgia kid. He's out of Macon, Georgia. Played at Westside High School, the Seminoles, and started his career at NC State. 3rd down and short. Handoff Simmons. Simmons not going to get there. Going to be stopped at the 36 and decision time for the Panthers. And that was Jabril El-Amin who came up and had the hit in the backfield to keep him from getting to the line. I think at this point with the Panthers and the kicking woes they've had, they're going for it on 4th down.
30, Rashad Amos in at running back.
Yeah, the Panthers have had all kinds of struggles in their kicking game. They are 3 for 10 between 2 guys. So they're going for it on 4th down. Pass is thrown, caught by Hurst for the 1st down. Hurst makes a big-time catch inside the 20-yard line, gets thrown to the ground at the 17.
Dial up number 1. It gets you what you need. Nice pattern, just enough.
1st and 10. Pass intercepted. Intercepted by Jadarius Green McKnight, who made a nice play on the ball.
Drilling on the field is an interception by the defense. 1st down, Marshall.
That's
First interception of the season for Green McKnight. Wow, he reached back on that. Finley didn't really see him there. And Marshall gets the ball back after we get back. Panthers with a 14-play, 63-yard drive that gets snuffed out by Jadarius Green McKnight's interception, Sam.
And that's something he just wasn't expecting. He figured he wouldn't reach back and get that spectacular play, though, to force the turnover, put the ball back in the hands of the Thundering Herd.
So 1st and 10, Marshall at their own 15-yard line. 4-5 on the season, 2-3 in the conference, coming off a loss to James Madison last week at home. Lost to Georgia in their opener. They're 1-3 on the road this year. Play action pass is off the hands of Lacey, who had a lot of room to run. Could he haul it in?
That's his favorite target. That's the guy that makes things happen. Lacey's impressive. Yeah, it was just a little too far for him.
Fortunately for the Panthers, because he had the defender beat, Derek Maxey, on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 10. Lacey, 45 catches, 543, 4 touchdowns, averaging 60.3 yards receiving per game. That's tops on the team in all those categories. Pass is thrown, it's caught. And that is Payne, the tight end, running free down to the 40-yard line. Toby Payne, one of the top tight ends in the conference, with his 27th catch of the year, goes for 48 yards.
He's another very capable target that Carlos Del Rio Wilson has. He's not afraid to dial him up, and here he is. He gets enough open in there. And then after the catch, picking up yards before Hopkins brings him down.
He was the only player on this Marshall team to make preseason all-conference honors. Del Rio Wilson, pocket collapses, and he is going to go down. Finally, a quarterback sack for the Panthers right there as Flournoy got to him and drops him at the 41.
Look for a minute like Del Rio Wilson was gonna escape. Avoids one, avoids two, but the big fella says, come here. Big freshman making a big play. He keeps doing impressive things, Matt.
Yeah, Del Rio Wilson's a big fella too, but Flournoy a little bit bigger. 2nd down. Del Rio Wilson going to run. He's going to get to the sideline and hop step out of bounds after just a couple of yards gain on the play, out of bounds at the 35.
32, Tyson McCrary was coming to force him out of bounds. And here's a big third down opportunity once again.
Panthers are next to last thirds downs offensively, allowing 47% just about. Del Rio Wilson drops it off across the middle, and that's going to be a first down for Marshall as Michael Allen is in the game. He's been out with an injury. They get him back this week. Coach Gibson's really excited about that. Michael Allen, 9th catch of the season right there, gets him the first down. Allen going to run it. Allen inside the 20, and Allen inside the 10, and finally dragged down at the 4-yard line by Jordan Huff.
Finding a different way to get the ball into Allen's hands. We saw the pass reception and now the run. Nice hole that opened up right there. Eric Meeks, 57, the center. He ran right off him.
That's a 22-yard gain. First and goal to go for Marshall. Handoff goes, touchdown easy for Michael Allen. And Michael Allen back in the lineup after being out with injury, makes an immediate impact, scores the touchdown, set up by his 22-yard run, and it's 7-6.
Watch two get the handoff and just walk in for the score there.
Yeah, 3 big plays for Michael Allen on that series, gets Marshall in the end zone. And now they're a point away from tying it up as the Panthers have a man down on the field right now. And that is going to be the defensive end, Jabril Rhodes-Nelson.
Player who's really been coming on for Georgia State this season. Defensive end position. They're going to get him up on his feet here.
How about Michael Allen getting back in the lineup? Had a 9-yard reception, then a 22-yard run to set him up first and goal, then the 4-yard touchdown run.
He's the finisher for this drive for sure.
As Jabril Rhodes-Nelson makes his way off the field, and now Lorcan Quinn on for the PAT. Gavin Magorian is the long snapper. Nathan Totten, the punter, is the holder. We're tied at 7. 7 plays, 85 yards. 2:38 off the clock after the interception by Green McKnight. Set it up.
They take that turnover, take it all the way back up the field. And there's Allen. You talked about the run. This was after the reception. And then to finish the drive. Welcome back.
Yeah. He had missed 4 of their 9 games and was their leading rusher per game. 62 yards per game. You can see gives them a little bit of juice there in that running back room in their running game here today to get this score tied up 7-7.
And the versatility. He can come out of that backfield and make some catches, but also you pair him now with what Antwan Roberts has been building to.
Lorcan Quinn has been touchbacks on all but 8 of his kicks this season. That's going to be another one. Gets to the back of the end zone. So the Panthers will bring it out to the 25-yard line with 1:50 to play here in the quarter. Panthers are 1-8, 0-5 in the conference. They have not beaten an FBS opponent. Their one win came here in this stadium against FCS Murray State. And they are 0-4 against ranked opponents. Of course, they started the season playing Ole Miss, Memphis, and Vanderbilt in their first 4 games. 3 of their first 4 games with the Murray State game sandwiched in that mix. So a tough schedule for the Panthers non-conference wise. And then they opened in the conference against James Madison. Handoff goes to Simmons, and Simmons crashes forward to the 31-yard line.
Matt, those first 4 FBS teams you meant are all bowl bound, and you still got 3 of them with possibilities for the playoff, right?
Yeah, Memphis probably maybe on the outside looking in after their most recent loss, but and Vanderbilt's got a shot at it. Certainly Ole Miss is in the mix there.
Watch for James Madison.
Yeah, and James Madison, of course, could be the winner as far as the 5th conference champion to get in there. And now, a lot of people are looking at the ACC, and if the wrong team wins that ACC championship, then it could be that the American Conference and the Sun Belt are the 4th and 5th best conference champions, and they get in and the ACC gets shut out. People are talking about that possibility existing.
Wow.
Run by Simmons to the 38-yard line. Yeah, last week the ACC really took a hit in the college football playoff race when both Louisville and Virginia lost on the same night last Saturday night. And it's kind of thrown that conference into disarray. And why that is important is because what I just said, the American and the Sun Belt both kind of looking in that back door and thinking they might sneak in this thing and leave the ACC out. Finley on the scramble. Pump fake, now going to go down at the 39 as Parker comes up to make the tackle. That was probably the final play of the first quarter.
Finley looked like he had some time. It just took some long to make the decision. And by that time, Parker had closed in.
And that is the end of the first quarter. 15 minutes in the books in Atlanta. Marshall and Georgia State tied at 7 as we head to the second. Back at Center Park Credit Union Stadium in downtown Atlanta, start of the second quarter. Marshall and Georgia State tied at 7 And look at the work that Ted Hurst has done this season. 57 catches for 854. Number 6 in the country. 95 yards receiving per game. Third down for Georgia State coming out of the quarter timeout, and Hurst, or Finley, scrambling, trying to get to the edge, is not going to get there. Gets run out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Great pursuit by Marshall on the play, and it brings up fourth down. Josh Pierre-Louis making that tackle.
Boy, they brought the rush, and when things went bad, Finley just trying to run for some yards and couldn't get any.
And right there is a great example of how badly the Panthers missed Cam Brown today. They lose that element of Cam Brown in the running game. Finley just can't replicate that. The punt coming down at the 12. And that's where Marshall will go on offense. There's a flag down on the field. 48-yard kick for the Panthers, Reed Chanley. Holding's going to be the call on Georgia State. Or actually, holding's going to be the call on Marshall, pardon me. Marshall is the one called for the hold. They're going to spot it down at the 6. So deep hole for Marshall for their first possession of the second quarter. 117 total yards for the Herd so far in the game, 71 passing and 46 on the ground. And Del Rio Wilson, 4 of 7 for 71 yards and 4 carries, 11 yards as he brings the offense out. Del Rio Wilson keeps it, pump fake, fires, and incomplete. Trying to squeeze it in a tight spot to Norton. Adrian Norton, his target. Chams Jine on the coverage for the Panthers.
Jine with good coverage here. Take another look. Just extending the play, hoping the receiver would get open. Tried to thread the needle, that couldn't get it.
And we do have a flag down on the play as well. I thought we did. Oh, it was declined. Okay. I never saw what the officials said, so it's going to be first down and 5 now. Del Rio Wilson gets driven back on the play by the Panthers there at the line of scrimmage. Kedrick Walker in on that tackle for the Panthers, along with a host of others.
Along with Fortress Lewis, 56. Rio Wilson faked the pitch, tried to call his own number, but tough going with that Georgia State interior.
Brings up second down. Handoff goes to Roberts, and Roberts falls forward to the 17-yard line.
Looks like he has a first down. Sticks are moving.
So first down Marshall. That'll be their 6th today. So first and 10, ball sitting at the 16-yard line. Lacey goes in motion behind the line. Roberts gets the handoff, gets submarine right there at the line of scrimmage. Wow. That was DeIcy Hopkins who came up from his safety position to hit him low.
Get low. Watch for number 4. Great solo stop.
Del Rio Wilson scrambles out to his left. He's being chased by Nelson Rhodes and run out of bounds. Let's see where they spot him out at the 22. Third down coming up. Georgia
State pass rush made him leave the pocket. That sets up third down.
Huff has gone to the sideline, upper body injury, reported that it'll be questionable for him to return today. Brings up third down. El Rio Wilson backpedaling and fires, and it is caught by Norton. Norton, they're going to rule him down at the 23-yard line with his forward progress.
Number 2, Deuce Fillmore there. It stops him short of the line of the yard to gain. Brings up fourth down.
So right there, that's where they blew the play dead. And so it's going to be fourth down punting situation here for Marshall, and Totten back out there to kick. Totten has forced 13 fair catches this season. He's been really good. We've already seen it boom it a couple of times today. Had a 58-yarder and a 47-yarder. And that's another monster kick, sending Robinson back to throw up the fair catch sign at the 19-yard line. 58-yard kick, his second 58-yard kick of the game. What did he eat this morning? My goodness. 7-7 as we step aside. Four minutes into the second quarter, Matt Stewart, Sam Crenshaw with you. 7-7 Marshall and Georgia State on this November afternoon. Fourth all-time meeting. Thundering Herd lead the series 2-1. Of course, series didn't start until the Thundering Herd joined the Sun Belt Conference, and Marshall a 35-20 winner in Huntington a year ago. The home team has won the first 3 meetings. As the Panthers go back on offense, 1st and 10 from the 19-yard line. They've rolled up 170 yards so far in this game. 92 of it, though, came on that one long touchdown run by Jordan Simmons.
That got things started for Georgia State in this game, the running attack.
Finley going to throw to the sideline, complete to Robinson, and Robinson gets run out of bounds by Smith. Daquan Smith making that tackle after Robinson has the short catch out on the edge. Panthers averaging 116 rushing per game. That's next to last in the conference. They're already over that number today, but when you get a big 92-yarder on the first 2 minutes of the game, that's going to do that for you. Off the hands of Robinson, they're going to rule that incomplete. A hard sidearm pass from Finley right there.
Here's another look at it. Like Robinson maybe just took his eye off that one, was thinking about moving up the field. Got to catch it first.
3rd down and 3. Line to gain is the 29. Simmons goes in motion. Quick pass across the middle. Broken up. Cam Smith breaks up the pass intended for Robinson. It's going to be 4th down.
Big play by the safety. Watch 0 and White. Get that left hand in there to knock it away. Big defensive play.
Smith came in with a team-leading 7 PBU on the season. Gets another right there and then gives him the seatbelt. Lacey standing deep. Chanley to kick for the Panthers. Little rush. Fair catch called for by Lacey, and he makes it at the 29. And that's where Marshall will go back on offense following a 45-yard kick by Reed Chanley. Five years ago on this football field, Carlos Del Rio Wilson led Cartersville to the state championship game playing Warner Robins. He was a mid-season transfer to Cartersville. He actually started his career at McEachern, but helped get the Purple Hurricanes to the state final in 2020. So back playing in this stadium today. And so far today, 5 of 8 passing for 72 yards. The wide receivers coach for the Marshall Thundering Herd also played in the state championship game, not here, but in the state championship game here in the state of Georgia. Chancey Stuckey.
Yep, he is a wide receiver coach. First season there. He's been at Notre Dame. But my goodness, Northside Warner Robins, some spectacular teams they had there.
He was a quarterback at Northside Warner Robins.
Wide receiver up at Clemson. Played for a time in the league and coaching his first season now at the Thundering Herd. He's happy to be back home too, I'm sure.
Weather's nice, that's for sure. Unseasonably warm for November 15th. Del Rio Wilson on the run, fires. It's going to be caught by Tamarez. Tamarez down to the 46-yard line.
Notice something here about Del Rio Wilson. He's using a variety of targets today. He's distributing the football around. Everybody's getting some touches, and they're producing for him today.
21-yard pickup right there. Del Rio Wilson back to pass, throws again, complete at the 39-yard line, and that's Norton. Shine on the tackle for the Panthers, but the Thundering Herd moving here early in the second quarter. Panthers had that big splash play in the first 2 minutes of the game, but it's been pretty much Marshall as far as the flow of the game since then. Run here by Del Rio Wilson. Big run! Inside the 25, hopped over his man. How about the elevation for Carlos Del Rio Wilson on the run? Picks up the first down at the 20. 18-yard pickup.
He needs to. Watch over Jane. Get up there.
Officials timeout.
I don't know much coach enjoys seeing him do that, but it looked like something everybody's going to remember from this game today.
Got a man down for Georgia State at the 36-yard line. And that's going to be Josiah Robinson, the Panthers' leading tackler and inside linebacker. They're looking at his left ankle.
You see Coach Dale McGee out there to get a look as well. You know what this guy has meant to this defensive unit.
Yeah, fourth-year junior out of Apopka, Florida. Transfer from Coastal Carolina. Team leading 64 tackles, 6 TFL, and a quarterback sack.
Yep, he has had to do a lot this season with that the defense being depleted at times with some of its experienced players, more experienced players. He's going to get up on his feet here.
So that looks good that he's able to walk off the field under his own power. Meantime, Marshall has it 1st and 10 at the Panthers' 20 after the run by Del Rio Wilson.
Got a whistle.
They had both Roberts and Joshawn Barbie lined up in the backfield that time.
Number 63, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Been a relatively clean game up until that penalty right there, and I'm reticent to say that because usually that brings out the jinx. So 1st and 15.
Look at Bryce Briggs there.
Barbie lined up next to Del Rio Wilson in the backfield. So far today, they've used Allen and Roberts, and now Barbie gets his first carry. He gets stonewalled at the line of scrimmage. No running room right there as Rhodes Nelson makes the tackle, who's at least in on it. So was Kedrick Walker.
Blue jerseys quick to the football for that one. Brings up 2nd down.
Rhodes Nelson had 7 tackles, couple of TFL against Coastal last Saturday, 23 tackles on the season. 2nd down and long. Del Rio Wilson, pressure, gets it out of there and is complete to Lacey, and Lacey's got the first down inside the 10. Good job by Del Rio Wilson there, Sam. He had pressure in his face and still got the ball off.
Pump fake one time, brought it back right there, decides back, and then he has his man. We talked about him distributing the ball to a number of receivers. This is Lacey's first reception today.
So 1st and goal to go. Play action. Barbie goes out for the pass, dumps it off instead to Payne, and Payne gets dropped at the 5.
That's Payne's 3rd catch of the day. Don't mind going to that tight end, Matt.
Yeah, 26 catches, 253, couple of touchdowns coming into today, only 9.7 yards per catch. So he's a short yardage guy, but you got to have that out of your tight end position, and Payne has been really good for them this year.
We saw him catch 1.5 big yards after the catch, too. So you give him that opportunity in that situation, he can deliver for you as well.
He's one of the few guys that stuck around after Coach Charles Huff left from Marshall following the championship game last year. Handoff goes to Barbie, cuts back inside. Kedrick Brown is there to make the tackle. Kedrick Walker, pardon me, there to make the tackle.
Going to bring up third down.
Look at 45 there. Keelan Butler.
Freshman out of Jefferson, Georgia High School. Panthers 12th in red zone defense in the conference. It's going to be third down. 9th play of the drive for Marshall. Del Rio Wilson pumps it into the back of the end zone. Lacey, touchdown Marshall, 13-7. He's been working on that choreograph for a while. Pretty good.
He's got it down pretty good. We talked about him at the top of the broadcast, talked about Lacey and how productive he is and what he means to this offense. Took him a while to get his first reception. We saw him get a handoff early in the game.
So Marshall has answered that opening touchdown run for the Panthers with a couple of touchdowns now. 9 plays, 71 yards. And Quinn puts it through the uprights to make it 14-7. 5.5 minutes to play in the half. Marshall now has the lead here in Atlanta. Touchdown pass from Del Rio Wilson to Lacey. Such a big deal for Tony Gibson to get the first head coaching assignment of his career at his native Marshall, West Virginia. He's a native of Van, West Virginia, which is not too far from Huntington. Population 129, 130 when he goes home to visit out of Boone County. And I love the hat. You got to love a coach who wears a hat like that. It looks like he's been out there hunting and fishing in that thing.
Well worn.
It was such a pleasure to visit with him at Sunbelt Football Media Days. And then again this week as we prepared for the game today. I think he's done a great job. Under extraordinarily difficult circumstances, when Coach Huff left, they brought in 70 new players. How difficult it is to assimilate 70 new players into a team that can just, walk on the field straight, much less win ball games. He's done a super job.
Here they are, 2 wins away from bowl eligibility. We talk about what that would mean, not just to him, but to the program to be able to achieve that this season.
So Panthers back on offense here, trying to get something going since they had that early 92-yard touchdown run by Jordan Simmons. Finley in the pocket, flushed out of it, looking downfield and throwing across his body. He was trying to get it to Simmons on a drag, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, they haven't had a lot of success except for the drive that was going and seemed like they were going to put points on the board. When Green McKnight reached back over his shoulder, that pick, it really turned the tide of things that were going for Georgia State offensively.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it was that pick that really seemed to change the momentum in this game. Finley's now 5 of 13 for 45 yards with that pick. Ball goes to Simmons. Jordan Simmons weaves through the defense and lunges forward, gets the first down at the 35-yard line. Already a career high for Jordan Simmons today. His previous career high coming at his last stop, which was Akron University, the Zips.
So a little patience that time. Just a fraction of a second to give that hole a chance to open up for him.
So 1st and 10 Panthers. Finley checks down to Simmons. Simmons busts out a one tackle, but not the second one, as Kerryon Martin comes over to get him on the ground at the 40, or make that 38.
Finding different ways to get Simmons to touch the ball.
And he's been the most dynamic playmaker for the Panthers today. Heavy rush. Finley has to step up to avoid it. Now cuts back into the middle of the field and gets dropped at the 41-yard line. Panthers just missing so badly the running dynamic that Cam Brown brings to the game. Got hurt in the Coastal game and did not play in the second half against the Chanticleers.
Cannon Lewis, nice one-hand stop there. Just reached up and stopped the progress with Finley.
But looking ahead to next season, great optimism for Coach Dell McGee because he's got Cam Brown coming back. And he's pretty much established himself as the number one, although he's unable to go today. Out on the edge, it goes to Robinson, and Javon Robinson play gets blown up immediately. Nothing going on out there. Smith on the tackle. And so was Martin again.
Trying to do the tunnel screen, not working that time. White jerseys all around.
Darius Green McKnight, who had that interception that we were talking about a few moments ago, was in on that tackle as well. It's 4th down. Panthers punting again. Reed Chanley on to kick. He's standing at his 26. And Lacey standing deep for Marshall back at his 12. Air catch called for by Lacey at the 10. 51-yard kick. It's been a day for punters, no doubt about that. I think that's the third 50-plus kick we've had from the punters today.
They're getting their workout in. Launching it here with 2:51 to go until halftime. Georgia State defense wants to come up here and do what they can to keep Marshall from putting points on the board.
I think the air's light, Sam. That's
so,
my
is that what it is?
Yeah,
that's what I'm.
That's my specialty forecast right there. There's not a lot of humidity though. I mean, it's warm, but there's not the typical humidity that comes with a 74-degree day here in Atlanta. Ball is out, complete out there on the edge, and that's a first down for Marshall as it goes to Norton. Adrian Norton, transfer from Akron, where he was a teammate of Jordan Simmons, came in with 15 catches on the year, 167. 1st and 10. Handoff goes to Roberts, and Roberts crashes forward to the 27. Antoine Roberts.
And this clock
5
is running.
catches, 5 carries on the game now.
We're going to get this play off here before the 2-minute timeout.
Apparently they won't.
Maybe not.
2-minute timeout.
There is the 2-minute timeout, not to be confused with the 2-minute warning. We'll step aside. Marshall, 2nd and 4 coming up, getting late in the half when we get back. Earlier in the day, I referenced the turmoil around the Marshall program at the end of last season. They won the championship. Coach Huff left. They hired Coach Gibson, declined the bowl invitation to the Independence Bowl because they didn't have enough players. And then they were fined $100,000 by the Sun Belt Conference for backing out of the Independence Bowl. So it was a rough end of last season, start of the new campaign, as Del Rio Wilson runs it up to the 39-yard line. And considering all they went through and the mass exodus of players that left the program, which by NCAA rules, college football rules, they were allowed to do, I think Tony Gibson has done a fabulous job with this program in season number 1.
Absolutely. Very much so.
Del Rio Wilson slings it out here complete to Lacey. Lacey gets out of bounds at the 49-yard line. 12-yard pickup. Del Rio Wilson has now completed his last 8 passes, playing back here in his home state. Quarterback run. Del Rio Wilson gets dragged down from behind and a flag comes out. That was Rhodes Nelson making the tackle for the Panthers.
Holding. Offense, number 57. 10-yard penalty to a first down.
Eric Meeks, the center, gets flagged with the infraction.
There he is right there in the middle.
The game clock will start on the snap.
So the Thundering Herd have been playing without their starting right tackle, Christian Richter, today because of injury. Slappy has moved from the right guard position to play right tackle, and Bryce Biggs has stepped up into the right guard position in place of Slappy. Pass is thrown complete out there to Turner. Ben Turner gets knocked down at the 41. Short gain for Ben Turner. Makes his 9th catch of the season. He's a local kid out of Spring Valley High School in Huntington.
Yet another different receiver that Del Rio Wilson is using.
Second down, Del Rio Wilson fires deep, and it is caught on the sideline by Tamarez at the 39-yard line. Tamarez in traffic brings it down.
Bringing it down because 32 Tyson McCreary was right there, reached up. Looked like he may have gotten a fingertip on it. No problem, though, for Tamarez, who brings it in. First down.
1st and 10 from the 39. And the keeper by Del Rio Wilson. He's eaten up the Panthers on defense with his running game. Gets a first down at the 26.
And now we're inside 1 minute to go, but the clock stops.
Now it's running again. Marshall does have all 3 timeouts remaining, so no panic. Pass complete to Payne. Makes a man miss. Touchdown, Marshall. 26-yard touchdown pass to Toby Payne. 2nd touchdown pass of the game for Del Rio Wilson. 2-touchdown lead for Marshall. Under a minute to play here in the half.
Payne showing you the quarterback not hesitant to go to the tight end. We saw earlier he can finish the yards after the catch for the touchdown.
Yeah, not when you have a tight end as good as Toby Payne. Quinn on for the PAT, and no problem at all. 21-7 Marshall, capping an 8-play, 90-yard drive with his 12th straight completion. Del Rio Wilson really clicking right now, and Payne his target for the score. So Marshall playing like a team, 2 wins away from bowl eligibility and really wanting to play in that bowl game. And Tony Gibson agreed with us when we talked to him this week. It would be huge for this program considering the fact they didn't get to play in a bowl game last year after winning the conference championship last year.
That was just
to get to play in one this year.
So rare to have something like that occur. To win a conference championship and so many players abandon the program that you can't even go to play the bowl game.
Well, how rare is it? I'd never heard of it happening before.
Me either.
They have.
To the back of the end zone. I don't think it ever had. But this year's edition of the Marshall Thundering Herd get a chance to right that wrong, if you want to call it that, and go to a bowl game.
Right now for Georgia State, it's the middle eights. Something that you hear Coach McGee talk about. Your last 8 minutes of your first half, first 8 minutes of your second half. If you can control some things in that way, you give yourself a chance. And this Georgia State team almost consistently has surrendered points in those middle eights. And it's happened here, and now a 2-touchdown lead for Marshall.
Yeah, really have not been able to do much since that early touchdown run by Simmons, and then they were moving again, and then that interception thrown by Finley, and there hasn't been a lot of offensive heartbeat since then. Finley, drop back, fires, and it's caught by Hollier. The Panthers find freshman tight end at the 44-yard line.
He had one bounce off his hands to start the game.
1st and 10, Finley pump fake, goes to the air, and Hurst can't run under it. Stick around, coming up at halftime, we'll have stats and highlights. We'll look around the conference. Everything else, nothing else has started. We were the first game of the day here in Atlanta. But plenty of other important games, and of course a huge game on Thursday night as Old Dominion just shut down Troy in a 33-0 win. Very costly loss for the Trojans, all but solidifying Southern Miss as the West Division champion. There's still work to be done there. And Southern Miss playing host to Texas State today.
Timeout, Georgia State. Their second 30-second timeout.
Timeout called by the Panthers, stopping the clock on 3rd and 4 with 28 seconds to go as Georgia State trying to get back into scoring position here before the end of the quarter. Of course, the problem with this for the Panthers is their kicking game has been so erratic that you almost don't even want to try a field goal, not even a chip shot field goal. Their two kickers are a combined 3 for 10. And I think it's more demoralizing if you try a kick and miss it than to not try the kick at all. Just go for it.
Let's get in position to see if we can set up for one, because that's what we got right now with 28 seconds. It is important to get into position to try. And if that's what you get, that's what you get, Matt. You want to go into the locker room feeling some kind of momentum. You get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is you're almost at the point where you're thinking, we're just going for it. We're not trying any field goals. We're just going for it because it's been so erratic in the kicking game. Opposite of the Marshall situation with Lorcan Quinn. Pass is going to be incomplete.
That was off the hands of Hollier once again.
There's Boogie Trotter. He's just sitting back there lurking, looking for that 6th pick. He's had 5 picks. He's tied for #1 in the nation, and he's taken 2 of them back.
And here you are at 4th down. You're gonna punt it away.
Yep. Chanley on to punt again as the Panthers failed on 3rd and 4. And now a timeout called by the Panthers with 22 seconds left in the half.
Timeout, Georgia State. Their 3rd and final of the half.
The things that have plagued this team offensively throughout the season, 3rd down conversions, things that just have been a problem taking place. Once again, it goes back to that interception that took the ball back the other way for Marshall.
Question I have to ask you here, looking ahead to the second half, Panthers have not moved the ball well, outside of the run by Simmons and again that interception. But, Finley's just 8 of 18 for 66 yards. He's thrown a pick. Do you go to Veyer? Veyer is listed as the #2 quarterback. He hasn't played since the 2nd game of the season. He's been buried on the depth chart since Cam Brown came on. But the Panthers aren't doing anything offensively. Do you go to Veyer in the second half and give him one last shot? It is his senior day too,
He just put his helmet on down here on the sideline. We'll see if maybe he gets a shot in the second half of this game, right?
So now the Panthers going to go for it. They pull the punt unit off the field on 4th and 4. And, I think Del McGee kind of realized, why are we punting here? We're 1 and 8. Let's go for it. I think Finley pulled him off sides, and Finley going to take a sack and go down, but I think he pulled him off side, so they're going to get the 1st down.
Offsides. Defense in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. First down. The game clock start on the snap.
So 1st and 10 Panthers. Now 17 seconds left in the half. Finley with the hard clap right there, the staccato clap. He went real fast, and that drew him off sides. Heavy rush. Finley steps up to avoid it. Going to slide down at the 41. They're going to spot him at the 43. Clock continues to run. Panthers don't have any timeouts left. They'll have to spike it right here. They do, with 4 seconds left in the half. So now Marshall will send 3 deep to play deep center field here to try to avoid the Hail Mary pass. Because that's what the Panthers are down to
Marshall.
here. So Marshall going to call a timeout.
30-second timeout.
Want to make sure their defense is all on the same page. Don't pop the ball up into the air. Bat it down.
Bat it down. That's what everyone always reminds people when you're in that formation.
You don't have to catch it. In fact, don't even try to catch it, because that's when it bounces off your hands. Just bat it down.
Yep. Let's go to the locker room.
Our statistician, Kevin Barnes, points out that deep center field in this defensive formation is actually shallow left field in the old Turner Field.
Yep, exactly. You remember your dimensions here. And
that's where Ryan Klesko would be playing right now. Back in the day, we're talking to Tony Gibson before the game down on the field. He was talking about all the great games that have been played here. You realize the Braves never won a World Series game in this stadium. They got swept by the Yankees in 1999. Of course, they won the World Championship in the stadium that was next door that's now been torn down, and they've won a game in Truist Park up the road, their new stadium. Never won a World Series game here.
All right, Matt, here's his field goal attempt.
This is extraordinary. This is a 60-yard attempt. You could have a kick 6 opportunity right here. The kick is on its way, and the kick is good. Oh, my goodness. He just booted a 60-yard field goal. Where did that come from? Woo! Braden McAllister nails a 60-yard field goal with room to spare.
Where's that been? What does that do for you going into the locker room, Matt? You got the ball to start the second half. You got a little juice, right?
You got a little juice. Unbelievable. I didn't think there was any chance in the world that the Panthers would hit that field goal. 60 yards with room to spare. Wow. 21-10 as we head to the locker room in Atlanta. 21-10 halftime. The stadium still buzzing after that 60-yard field goal by McAllister to close the half as the Panthers down 11 as the two teams are now in the locker room. Georgia State volleyball team closed out the regular season with 7 straight wins. A lot of momentum for the Panthers as they get ready for the Sun Belt tournament. And part of that story is Jaden Akers' personal comeback story.
My name is Jaden Aker. I am a redshirt sophomore, and I'm a psychology major, and I am on the Georgia State volleyball team. The journey was definitely different. It was definitely very unique compared to others. I had, throughout high school, going through the recruiting process, obviously super exciting. I had a couple surgeries. I had ankle surgery my junior year, and then my first tournament back, I tore my ACL. So I was out my senior season, unfortunately. But throughout that, I ended up committing to a different program, was super excited, and then a couple weeks before my report date, I tore my ACL again. And I kind of took that as a sign like, okay, maybe this program's not for me. And I was kind of debating if I wanted to play again, just with everything that my body had been through, just to take a break. So ACL recovery is about a year-ish in length, so I wanted to stick out my academics. I wanted to continue that. So I ended up doing that year off, doing online classes at the community college. And then once I'd fully healed, I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna get back into it. So I decided to finish out my associates and play my first collegiate season at Scottsdale Community College in Arizona. And once I played that season, I fell back in love with it again, couldn't see myself not playing, and that's when I got in contact with Georgia State, and then I came out here that January spring semester. The most challenging part was definitely the mental and getting back out. I knew physically I had put in the work to come back and that my body was strong enough, but fighting that mental battle of, okay, what if it happens again? What if this? What if this? And really having to train myself that I've put in the work and training my mind that I'm supposed to be here. I've put in the work, it's all gonna end up how it's supposed to end up. And then just kind of relying on my teammates. Like I said, going back to that, I think that's one of the most special things in volleyball, and knowing that they have my back if anything happens, knowing that I've put in the work, and knowing that the foundation that I've set is strong enough to hold up for what I want to do. I would definitely say just keep pushing, because whatever you are feeling in that moment is temporary. I know I went through a lot of times where I was like, I don't know if I can get through this. I was considering never playing again, but at the end of the day, those feelings pass, and it's important to sit in those feelings and really feel them, because they do matter and they do shape you and build your character into a person that's amazing and who you want to be. But it's important to, and I know everyone says this, it's so cliche, but really just to not quit and keep going, because that end feeling is so rewarding, and the places it can put you in are unimaginable. I'm so grateful to be here, and everything that I've been through, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I'm so happy here, and I think that all goes into me sticking it out and not quitting when I was in those tough times.
Atlanta, back in downtown Atlanta. Marshall leading Georgia State 21-10. Matt Stewart along with Sam Crenshaw. Panthers getting a 60-yard field goal from Blaine McAllister at the end of the first half. Get all of ESPN college football all in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock with the ESPN Unlimited plan or log in with your TV provider. Let's take a look back at those first half highlights. Sam, Panthers made the biggest splash early on with the 92-yard touchdown run from Jordan Simmons.
Jordan Simmons just goes to the left side and just runs away from everybody. Like you said, you figured somebody was out there. There was nobody. What a way to start the game.
Was a great way to start the game. Then a turning point right here as Green McKnight comes up with the interception as the Panthers are driven down inside the 20-yard line. Then the big pass completion to Toby Payne went for 48 yards. And then the touchdown run by Michael Allen after a 22-yard run and got them down there close. And then the touchdown pass, Del Rio Wilson to Lacey. And then Del Rio again, this time big completion out on the edge. And then the touchdown to Payne. 21-7 at that point. And then on the final play of the first half, look at that. Marshall didn't even hardly rush the thing. I think they thought they were going to get a return out of that. No reason for them to think otherwise. That 60-yard field goal shocked all of us. Never saw that coming. So take a look at the first half stats. What jumps off the page at you, Sam?
Boy, I tell you what, you look at those numbers for rushing for Georgia State, but you remember how much of that came on that big run by Simmons. You look at more of a balance when you look at things for Marshall and what they've been able to do. The one turnover for Georgia State, and you know that's your thing, 21 straight points that the Thunder and Hurt were able to put on the board. That is big right now.
Yeah, that turnover for the Panthers was really big because the Panthers looked like they're going to drive in and score again, their second touchdown of the day. But not only did they not do that, Marshall flipped the field, came right down and scored quickly on the Panthers, and Georgia State, until that final field goal at the end, had lost all momentum in the game.
It was important to try to get some points on the board. Wonder if they had enough time, but they managed to get some. They get some momentum going into the locker room, and they get the ball to start the second half.
Indeed they do. It's halftime in Atlanta, 21-10 Marshall. 3 weekends left in the regular season, counting the one we're in right now. And as you can see in the East Division, it's a 2-team race. Only Coastal Carolina has a shot at catching James Madison. And, of course, they have aspirations of perhaps getting in the college football playoff if they can continue to run the table. Southern Miss in the West, really, Troy, the only team that can catch them. Arkansas State has already lost to the Golden Eagles. So Troy, even though they now have 2 losses, they still have an outside shot. But right now it's James Madison and Southern Miss in the driver's seat to reach the conference championship game. So take a look at the scores from today. Only one other game, and that was from Thursday night. Old Dominion beating Troy, as we mentioned, but several games starting right now. South Alabama at ULM, Texas State at Southern Miss. That's a big one. James Madison hosting App. That's also very big. And then later on tonight, Coastal Carolina. That's really big for the Chanticleers. They're playing at Georgia Southern, 6 o'clock Eastern. Halftime here in Atlanta is 21-10 Marshall. We'll come back. Back in Atlanta where they just kicked off, and there's a flag on the play on the touchback. Let's check the call from our officials here today and see where this one's going.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Personal foul, Georgia State, number 21. Personal foul, Marshall, number 8. Penalties, offset. It's first down.
So T.J. Payton on the return for the Panthers gets the flag on him, and Jabril El-Amin got the flag on him for Marshall. Offset, so no harm, no foul, right? Or 2 harms, no harm, 2 fouls. So they race each other. Maybe that's the way it goes. So 1st and 10, Panthers ball at the 25-yard line. Handoff goes to Simmons, and Simmons gets wrapped up at the line of scrimmage right away by Parker, making his 5th tackle of the day. Team-leading 5th tackle for Parker and Marshall. Of course, Parker, as we mentioned in the first half, playing back in his home state. He's from Macon, Georgia. So 2nd down and 9. Simmons, 11 carries for 143 yards. Finley, rush is coming at him, and he's going to go down. Quarterback sack. And that was Paul Hudson with his 4th sack of the season. So 3rd down, ball sitting at the 23. Finley stands in there, delivers deep, and it's going to be intercepted at the 38-yard line. Another pick for Marshall, and this time it's Daquan Smith. Third interception of the season for Smith.
Finley throws that one into double coverage and comes up empty. And that's not the way you want to start your second half. We talked about the momentum of that long field goal, what it would mean for the Panthers getting the ball to start the second half.
So 1st and 10 Marshall as they take over the 37-yard line following the pick by Daquan Smith. Handoff goes to Lacey on the sweep, and he gets knocked down right away.
.25 Josiah Robinson in on the stop. We talked about how active he has been all season long on this defensive unit.
Team leading 8 tackles now for Josiah Robinson today. It's 2nd down and 11. Gets a TFL on that too. That's the 2nd TFL for the Panthers. Del Rio Wilson guns it, broken up. Trying to squeeze it in a tight spot right there.
Tyson McCrary. We called this name a couple of times today. Number 32, big time stop right there, denying Damaris.
Tyson's dad, Fred, played in the National Football League, had some time with the Atlanta Falcons. It's 3rd down. Del Rio Wilson guns it again. It's caught, but this time ball pops out, and they're going to rule him down by contact with the ground after the catch was made by Tamarez.
It looked like both had a hand on it.
It's a completed pass. Runner was down.
So 4th down punting situation for Marshall after they got the interception.
Uh-oh, got a whistle.
The ruling on the field of a completed pass is under video review.
Seemed like both players may have gotten hands on this ball and taken it to the ground here. Or did it come out? Did the receiver had it until he hit the ground? Let's take another look here.
I don't think we have enough video evidence to overturn the call, which was a catch on the field.
Don't see it on that one.
No, but remember the call on the field is a catch. And so we got to have video evidence to prove that it wasn't a catch. And I didn't see anything right there unless they've got another angle other than the one that we just saw right there. Really don't understand the significance other than just to get it right. And this just doesn't change the scenario, because if he didn't make the catch, they're going to be punting from 3 yards from where they are right now. I'm told they're looking to see whether it's a fumble, which, of course, they blew the play dead. So not only are they looking to see was it a reception, they're looking to see, although the official down on the field said they were looking to see if it was a reception. And now we've been told from the replay booth that looking to see whether it was a catch and a fumble. So a little bit of conflicting information coming from the field and coming from the booth. So does he make the catch and then fumble? So if he made the catch, he's down right there and he's still got possession of the ball. Again, I think we're spending a lot of time on a play that really is inconsequential, right? Don't you think?
True, true.
Unless, of course, they rule it a fumble, but I don't see how they could rule that a fumble. He was down on the ground when the ball popped out of his possession. Okay, we'll see what they come up with here.
They're spending some time on it.
Yes, they are. Now, and if they come back and say it was an incompletion and we spent all that time just to move the ball 3 yards back for them to punt it anyway.
Yeah, Coach McGee's watching.
So they're going to rule this an incomplete pass is what I'm told. And so instead of punting from the 41, they're going to punt from the 38.
We want them to get it right, Matt. We want them to get it right.
We do.
We don't want it to take so long. Look at a smile there from Coach McGee.
I know that Coach McGee and probably Coach Gibson, too, said there were some other replays I wish you'd spent this much time on during the season.
The ball hit the ground prior to the receiver having possession. It's 4th down.
So they'll move it 3 yards back, and Marshall will do the same thing that they were going to do in the first place, and that's punt.
That does not change.
So Totten on to kick as he was before we got stopped for 5 minutes. And a booming kick. Man, this guy has kicked rainmakers all day. That checks up at the 3, rolls sideways. Another great kick by Totten as he nails the Panthers inside their 5-yard line. That's a 59-yarder. He's had 58, 58, and 59 today. And a short one of 47.
What a day he's having.
He has. Wow. (21-10) Marshals. The Panthers go back on offense at their own 4-yard line. The quarterback comparison heavily in Carlos Del Rio Wilson's favor here, as Finley's just 8 of 19 for 66 yards and a couple of picks as he brings the offense back out here in the third quarter. Threw a pick on their last possession, although the Thundering Herd cannot cash in and turn that into points. Amos now in there at running back. And Amos gets the handoff, and Amos gets stacked up at the line of scrimmage, not going anywhere, as Naquan Crowder makes the tackle for Marshall.
There's a good look at number 70. First man to the ball, making a big stop.
He is a big freshman, 6'3", 319 out of Aliquippa, PA. Played at California University, which is in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
But you knew that.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't California University be in Pennsylvania? Ball is thrown complete to Hurst. Hurst, 4 guys hitting. Man, they are all over Ted Hurst.
But hadn't it been that way all season? I mean, he's no secret, yet he's had remarkable numbers. And he knows that there's somebody, 1, if not 2 defenders following him everywhere he goes.
So third down, ball sitting at the 7. They have not let Ted Hurst be a big factor in this game today. That was his 4th catch for 21 yards. After he had another 10 catch plus 100-yard receiving game last week against Coastal. Heavy rush coming at Finley. Runs out of the end zone. Going to pick up the first down as he slides down. Gutsy run there by Finley to run it out of the end zone and pick up the first at the 16-yard line.
Cam Smith there for the start. I thought we were going to have a little hit with a little high there.
Yeah, Cam Smith pulled back, though. You saw him pull back on it. Wide open is Hurst. Catches it at the 45. Boogie Trotter gets him on the ground at the 40.
You just have to keep going to him. You have to give him a chance.
And they got single coverage right there, and as good as Boogie Trotter is, he couldn't keep up with Hurst. Got behind him. Had no help on Ted Hurst that time. Most of the time, they've got double help on Ted Hurst. This time, they got the single coverage, and the Panthers make him pay for it. 1st and 10, ball at the 43. Handoff goes to Amos, and Crowder wraps him up and drives him back again. Naquan Crowder feeling himself right now.
Crowder's there. Kerrion Martin, 22, is right there with him, too. Making that stop. Amos coming out. Jordan Simmons returns for Georgia State.
2nd down and 10. Ball sitting at the 43. That was a 41-yard pickup to Hurst a few moments ago to get the Panthers on the plus side of the 50. Simmons back in there at running back. He'll get the handoff. Simmons hits the hole quickly and falls forward to the 37-yard line. Well, Del McGee told us they needed a big game from Jordan Simmons today, and he has provided that for them. That's 13 carries for 144 yards in that 92-yard touchdown run. And now it's 3rd down and 4. Panthers 4 for 10 on their 3rd downs today. Simmons gets the handoff again, hits the hold hard and pushes the line to the 31 and picks up another 1st down. Panthers getting really good push on that offensive line today, and Coach Del McGee and Hugh Jackson, the OC, were both very complimentary of the offensive line and their performance running the ball, at least in the run game against Coastal last week.
So you look at him there, Alec Johnson.
Funch in there as well. 69, Jeremiah McCrimmon getting the start. KG Boyd out today with injury. Of course, McCrimmon's been in and out of the starting lineup all season long. Toss goes to Simmons following the block of his tight end, Hollier, out there, and gets down to the 27-yard line.
Talk about the freshman Hollier. Had one bounce off his hands earlier, made a catch later. Blocking is something that they want to see him do a better job with.
Yeah, freshman out of River Ridge High School in Woodstock here in the Atlanta area. They're really high on him. He has come on strong for them in the pass-catching game, especially since Cam Overton Howard got hurt and was lost. Simmons, another handoff, this time coming off the edge. Marve Myers, the corner, gets in on the tackle.
Myers got there quick, like he was shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, it looked like he was coming on a corner blitz there, and it's going to be third down. Either that or he really recognized the run really quickly and reacted to it. Third down and 5 for the Panthers. Irving Myers was coming on the blitz again. They get it to Hollier. Did he get to the line to gain? He did. Got the first down. I thought he might have stepped out before the sticks, but he was able to stay in bounds and pick up the first.
Great play by the freshman here. You got to have the presence of mind to know where you are, stay in bounds, and get enough to move the sticks.
And good job by Finley to recognize that Myers was again coming on that corner blitz, and so the man was open out there, 1st and 10. Handoff Simmons tried to redirect, and he gets thrown to the ground. That's Hudson again. Paul Hudson has really been strong for them this season. Young man transferred in from Austin Peay.
And you're seeing why we talked about him from the outset. As one of the players to watch for them defensively. He's showing you why.
Gets the TFL right there. Already has a quarterback sack today. As you take a look at his season numbers, that was coming into today. Even has a couple of picks. Had a pick 6. You got to love it when a 260-pound defensive end gets a pick 6. Second down. Finley stands in there, delivers downfield, man down, flag out. Hollier got run over out there by Daryl Sweeting, the corner.
Pass interference. Defense, number 2, 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So a break for the Panthers. They were playing behind the sticks after that TFL by Hudson. Get bailed out here on the DPI. No doubt about it, Sweeting with the takedown.
I like that Finley has the confidence to go back to the young tight end again.
Well, Hollier's been really good this year. Came in with 11 catches, 3 touchdowns, and a team-leading 16.5 yards per catch. And it's 1st and goal to go at the 7-yard line.
Got 2 tights in right now. You got McBride back in and Waddle's in as well.
Marshall is the lone wideout in this formation. Handoff goes to Payton. TJ Payton, the freshman, getting the carry inside the 10-yard line. A little bit surprising there. A little surprising they're not going with Simmons, right?
Very much surprised if we didn't go with Simmons there. Also surprised where he chose to take the play when you have those 2 tights lining up on the right side with only 1 receiver, as you mentioned.
TJ Payton, number 21, the freshman, stays in the game. And they're sticking with him right here. Interesting call, especially given the success of Jordan Simmons today. Payton gets to the 5 and no more. Cam Smith making that tackle for Marshall. Again, a little bit surprised. Now Simmons comes into the game. That they did not have Simmons in the game here on the 1st and 2nd and goal situations. And they had Payton, the freshman, who has only 10 carries the entire season out there in that situation.
Changes up front, too. A.J. Andrews, 71, comes out of the game.
Simmons going to block. Finley going to try to run it in himself. Trying to get to the pylon and gets knocked down at the 1. And again, that's where you really miss the speed of Cam Brown in that situation.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be 4th down and goal to go from just inside the 2.
Well, Cam Smith got the worst of that from his own teammate,
Yes.
Parker.
Parker took him out. Not literally, but knocked him out, took him out of the play. So here you go, 4th and goal from just inside the 2. Empty backfield set for the Panthers here. So what would look like a passing situation for Georgia State, and now a timeout's been called.
Yeah. Timeout. Marshall. Their first.
And we'll step aside with a big 4th and goal coming up when we get back. Fourth and goal coming up for Georgia State. Critical moment in this game with 3:32 to play in the third quarter. Matt Stewart, Sam Crenshaw. We'll see what the Panthers come up with on this play. They initially showed Sam empty backfield, indicating they were going to pass the ball here from the 2.
But we do see Jordan Simmons here now in the game. And we know how he's been all game long. This close, you got to have him as an option. That offensive line working to get you a yard.
So now an entirely different formation right here as they split 2 wide to the bottom of your screen, and Simmons in there at running back with Finley. Finley on the sprint out, looking into the end zone, throwing, caught, touchdown, Hoyer. The freshman Grant Hoyer with a big touchdown catch to make it 21-16.
Freshman said, if you throw it to me, I'm going to catch it now.
In traffic, too. Wow. He had a man riding on his back. That was Cam Smith all over him. And let's see, the Panthers are going to go for 2 right here to try to make it a 3-point game. 15 plays, 96 yards, took nearly 9 minutes on that drive. Huge time-consuming and points-producing drive for Georgia State. Now they'll try to cap it with a 2-point conversion. Finley wants to go to the air, looking, scanning the field, firing, touchdown, 2-point conversion to Jordan Simmons, and it's 21-18.
Great selection. That time, Finley with some time to find his target after the great catch by the freshman.
TJ Finley leading the Panthers down the field on that 96-yard touchdown drive to make it 21-18. 12 of 23, 120 interception, one touchdown, 2 interceptions today. He went 4 for 4 for 54 yards on that last drive, Sam, and the 41-yard pass to Ted Hurst was the big play in that drive. Kickoff and finally return opportunity here for Marshall. Out across the 20, 25, 30, and up to the 33-yard line on the return for Marshall. And that was Xavier Turner Bradshaw, pardon me, on the return right there. And it's a 1st and 10 for Marshall. Turner Bradshaw, whose dad played in the program.
Matt, you talked about that possession for Georgia State, and it's what they needed coming out of the locker room on the heels of the field goal that gave them some momentum. They were able to recapture that now. Now what they do defensively as the Thundering Herd go back on offense.
Now we're down to 18 minutes of regulation left in this game. It's a 3-point game. Straightforward run by Allen. Xavier Carter makes the tackle. It's going to be a 6-yard pickup for Allen on the first snap of this series. He flashed early in this game. Hadn't seen him since that first half when he played so well on 3 consecutive plays. Del Rio Wilson, long throw to the sideline, and it's caught. Man breaks free down the sideline all the way down to the 33-yard line goes Tamarez.
DeAndre Tamarez makes the catch and then gets away from Shams Jane. It's another look at it. And he had some pressure coming on him, Del Rio Wilson did.
And quickly down to the 33-yard line from Marshall. Handoff on the misdirection goes to Allen. Allen lunges down to the 29-yard line. Picks up 4 on the play. Marshall moving the ball well here late in the third quarter following that touchdown and 2-point conversion by the Panthers. Long snap count, fakes the handoff to Allen. Here comes the rush by the Panthers. Throwing on the run, and it's going to be caught out of bounds, dropped out of bounds at the 1-yard line by Lacey. That was Bishop Thomas bringing a lot of pressure, and there's a flag down on the field at the 35.
Offense number 60, 10-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
Holding called on Shanmarcus Adams, the left guard. That'll back him up further, push him back to close to the 40-yard line. Exactly the 39 to be precise.
There's
Steve
60
Bishop
right
Thomas.
down the bottom. Got a hold there on Tyson McCrary.
Yeah, Bishop Thomas was the guy that makes the play, though. He flushes Del Rio Wilson out of the pocket and makes him throw it under duress. Kedrick Walker was also in on that thing to make him get rid of it quickly. Del Rio Wilson running, throws it complete, goes to Allen. Allen down to the 21. Wow, he has done nothing but spark this offense every time he's been in the game.
Perhaps we haven't seen more of him today. Like you said, he had a splash earlier. We hadn't seen him in a while. He's back out there. He's making good things happen when he gets the opportunity.
Yeah, he's been nothing but electric for Marshall on offense today in his first game back from injury. Handoff goes no. Fake handoff to Lacey. Del Rio Wilson keeps it and reaches the 18-17 before being dragged down.
Xavier Carter there on the stop. Well, he had his arms around him, still couldn't bring him down. Carlos Del Rio Wilson is a tall order.
We've seen a good deal of Xavier Carter and Keelan Butler today at that linebacker / defensive end spot. Looks like they've been getting a lot more run than Marlon Dean has today. 2nd down. Carter nearly got him. Del Rio Wilson runs past the sticks, and Walker knocks him out of bounds. Kedrick Walker having a big game again. He has been next man up, next man up.
Del Rio Wilson gets up with a big smile on his face after that.
Demaine Wilson was the starter at that position. Then Kobe Owens, and then he got hurt. So Kedrick Walker is actually, from the start of the season, the third team man at that outside linebacker spot, or what they call an inside linebacker spot, and he has really played well as we reach the end of the third quarter. 21-18, Marshall holding on here as we head to the fourth quarter. Here's a look at your game summary. Del Rio Wilson, 17 of 22, 240 and a couple of touchdowns. Payne, 4 catches, 81 and a touchdown. Finley, 12 of 23, 120 and a touchdown. Big story for the Panthers has been Simmons, 17 carries for 158. But as we start the fourth quarter, it is 3rd down and 8 for Marshall as they have it at the Panthers' 17-yard line. Bird 2 wins away from bowl eligibility. They could really use a win here today. Heavy rush coming off the edge. Del Rio Wilson holds on to it, scrambles, still being pursued, and dumps it off. And it is caught by Allen downfield. Great play by Del Rio Wilson to keep it alive, and it's going to be 4th and 1.
A lot of that was on Carlos Del Rio Wilson. He just extend that play, little pump fake here. Gets his receiver open, gets the ball to him. Still going to bring up 4th down.
And so they're going to bring on Larkin Quinn here for a field goal. This will be a 39, or make that a 29-yard kick from the right hash. Good look at it right there from our end zone camera. And the kick is good. Quinn has been really good this year. He's now 18 of 22. Young man out of Ireland that they got a hold of late, but it's been a great late addition for the Marshall Thundering Herd this season. He makes it 24 to 18. He's had 4 50-plus yard field goals this season, including a 55-yarder against Coastal Carolina, and that was his 12th straight make since he missed a 51-yarder against Old Dominion.
You talk about how strong the kicking game is just for special teams for this Marshall team. When you look about the punch that we've seen today, and now when you have a kicker that is that reliable, when you're in scoring distance or in scoring range, you know you can convert. I know Coach this week said he'd rather have 6. He wants his team to do better in the red zone.
And here is the kickoff. This will be non-returnable. And the Panthers will bring it out to the 25-yard line with 14-17 left. Of course, the Panthers making the stop there and limiting the Herd to a 3 instead of 7 means touchdown and a PAT puts the Panthers in the lead, which they have not had since they had that early 7-0 advantage on the 92-yard touchdown run by Jordan Simmons.
And as the offense returns to the field, number 9 is in the backfield.
What a game. 158 yards rushing for Jordan Simmons. Easily his best game in a Panthers uniform. Finley guns it, caught in stride. Javon Robinson up to the 42. And a Marshall Thundering Herd player is injured on the play. Looks like it's Daquan Smith.
Yeah, big collision right after that catch. You got to keep your eye on it. Makes the catch.
Yeah, looks like maybe he got kneed in the head as he was going low on that tackle. And we'll step aside as they tend to Daquan Smith. Back in Atlanta, where play has come to a halt as they continue to work on Daquan Smith. You can see an army of medical personnel surrounding him. They've got his shoulder pads off. They've taken his helmet off. And they've got the board out there that they're going to slip under him and lift him up onto the golf cart to get him off the field. So certainly a very somber situation right now as Daquan Smith is being tended to at the 40-yard line. Well, they have gotten Daquan Smith up on the golf cart. They got the stabilizer board underneath him, and they've also got a stabilizer around his head and neck. He did give a thumbs up sign to his team right there, so that's a good sign that he does have mobility in his extremities. But obviously they're being very cautious. Got hurt on that pass reception by the Panthers in the first down at the 41-yard line. And if we're able to get any further information on his condition, we will certainly pass that along as the crowd gives him a standing ovation here at Center Park Stadium.
Shout out to the crew, and really, both teams had their trainers and doctors on the field in a situation like this. All players on both sidelines taking a knee.
So it was a 16-yard completion to Javon Robinson that Smith got hurt on. And they take him off the field and now back to live action, which sometimes can be difficult to do after a situation like that. 1st and 10 Panthers at the 41. Handoff goes to Jordan Smith, and Smith crashes forward. Tackle made by Jadarius Green McKnight, and now it's going to be 2nd down. Stunner right now in Hattiesburg. In the second quarter, Texas State has jumped out to a 20-0 lead on Southern Miss. Texas State 0-5 in the conference. Southern Miss, of course, 5-0, and one of the big stories in the conference and leading the West Division. Handoff goes to Smith again, and Smith gets tackled right away by Boogie Trotter at the 47-yard line. Going to be 3rd down. So that would be welcome news for Troy. A loss by Southern Miss would get Troy back into the picture, since Troy and Southern Miss closed the regular season against each other.
Would be.
Also, the other big score we're tracking, James Madison now a 17-0 lead on App in the second quarter as James Madison just keeps plowing through the conference. Win today would get them to 7-0. Finley to the air, far side, caught by Hurst, first down.
Great catch by Hurst, but also great by Finley to snap that throw out there, get that first down, and keep the drive going. Big third down conversion there.
Hurst now 6 catches for 69 yards on 11 targets. First and 10 Panthers. They're down 6, trying to get the lead here. They haven't had it since the first quarter. Stopped after a 1-yard gain. That was Branson Robinson. Haven't seen him in a while.
That was Caleb Clark Glover that comes up there with the big hit and the smack there to stop it. No, we haven't seen Branson Robinson today. First carry for him.
37 carries, 113 on the season coming in. Of course, a young man whose career has been beset by injuries at the University of Georgia before he transferred here. Finley, pocket breaking down, hit as he throws, ball falls incomplete.
Watch. Pressure says who gets a hand up on it there. He just got bumped as he threw it. Jadarius Green McKnight had the big interception earlier. One of the players applying the pressure that time for Marshall.
Now it's 3rd down and 9. Clock approaching 11 minutes left in regulation and a 24-18 lead for Marshall. Panthers have 7 of 14 on their 3rd downs today. Finley, pocket breaking down. They're really sending the pressure. And a quarterback sack. Trotter coming off that corner, gets in there and gets a piece of that sack along with El-Amin.
And that's big for the Thundering Herd. Well, they just sent everybody.
Trotter, Jabril El-Amin in on that tackle, is 4th down. Chanley on the punt, standing at his 31. Booms that one. Fair catch, going to hit behind the receiver and kick into the end. No, it doesn't. The Panthers are able to get on top of it at the 1. Wow, I thought that thing was going to blast into the end zone. And the great punting from both teams continues today as the Panthers nail the Marshall Thundering Herd down at the 2-yard line.
Look at that kick. Look at it. Check up.
3-yard line where it was touched by the kicking first down.
So they'll mark it at the 3.
Yeah, they'll mark it at the 3. That will go down as a 51-yard punt. So the Panthers on their last touchdown drive went 96 yards, and now Marshall is 97 yards away from the end zone with 10:23 left on the clock. Handoff goes to Roberts. Roberts knocked down almost immediately as he got to that line of scrimmage. That was DeIcy Hopkins coming up from that safety position to make another tackle. That was his 7th of the day. Second and 7. Make a toss. Del Rio Wilson keeps it. Going to get dragged down at the 9-yard line. Good pursuit by the Panthers defensively that time.
So Kedrick Walker, 30 was there.
Walker's approaching a 10-tackle day. He had 9 each of the last 2 weeks. 9 solo against Coastal last week. Pass, Del Rio Wilson coming back to get it for a first down at the 18-19 yard line is Lacey. And he comes up limping, grabbing his hamstring. Or maybe not his hamstring, maybe it's his calf. Either way, he's coming off the field. 5th catch for Lacey.
Took him a while to get started with receptions, but once he did, he's had a touchdown today. Some crucial catches for his team. This one moves the sticks.
1st and 10 from the 19. Play action, little pop pass goes to Payne, the tight end. Still on his feet up to the 49-yard line. Toby Payne, another huge catch for Marshall.
And he has answered when the opportunities have come today big time. His 81 makes the catch, and he picks up yards afterwards.
81 goes for 29, and the ball is on the 49. Marshall has moved it out to the 48, I should say. It's going to be 1st and 10. Del Rio Wilson slings it out there to the edge, and catch is made by Norton. Adrian Norton with his 4th catch of the day.
Tyson McCrary there for the first contact. Got a little handful of jersey to make sure he didn't get away.
And Tyson's got a lot of run today. Been using him a lot back in the secondary. 2nd down and 3. Roberts does get the handoff, and Roberts does pick up the first down as he leans into the 40-yard line. Josiah Robinson in on that tackle. Touchdown right here for Marshall would just be devastating for the Panthers. Del Rio Wilson on the quarterback run. 10+ yards for Del Rio Wilson as he struggles to get to the 29.
He's struggling to move, but the Panthers are struggling to bring him down.
He is their leading rusher on the season. He is their leading rusher today.
Josiah Robinson finally got a hand on him and got him to come down.
Pass goes out on the edge. It's complete. Down the sideline. Norton, touchdown. Marshall. And the backflip by Norton. Wow, 30-18. How quickly they came down the field. They went 96 yards in a flash. And likely going for 2 right here to try to reestablish a 14-point lead.
There's the catch. We talked about Tyson McCrary getting a lot of run today. He couldn't hang on to that receiver. Nice round off. I don't know what the judges would give him on that. A 7 or you could give him a 9 on that one.
8 plays, officially 97 yards. I give him a 1,000 because I couldn't even begin to even think about trying to do something like that. A 1,000 on a scale of 10. Just great. Here we go. Going for the 2. Del Rio Wilson scanning the field, throwing to the end zone, incomplete, so the lead stays at 12.
Well, he had time there.
So Marshall with a mammoth 97-yard drive, a great touchdown catch and run by Norton, goes up by 2 scores with 6.5 to play. Marshall takes a 30-18 lead with 6:38 to go. Impressive drive, Sam, as they went 97 yards for the score.
And we talked about it coming on the heels of a fantastic punt that really looked to pin them inside the 5. Rubbing Hurd still managed to come up the field and put 6 more on the board.
I think we've had all but one return on these touchbacks. You look at Marshall's receiving leaders today. Payne 5 for 110, Norton 5 for 56, just scored the touchdown. Tamarez 4 for 79. Lacey, who is their top wide receiver, 4 for 39. So Del Rio Wilson has done a really good job of finding other options other than just Lacey today, and he's punished the Panthers by doing that.
6 receivers in all he's used in this game. Been very effective in many ways, taking what's been given.
Finley, clean pocket, lifts it up there, and it's complete to Robinson, who gets pushed from behind, but he's down. Actually, that's not going to be Simmons. I thought it was Robinson making that catch. It was Simmons coming out of the backfield for a 32-yard catch.
That is big. Simmons giving some time to get out of the backfield. Big time catch.
That puts him well over 200 yards of offense today from scrimmage. 1st and 10 Panthers from the 43. Finley in trouble. They got him. Quarterback sack. Kaba was there to get him. Sid Kaba was the first guy to touch him. Panthers have trouble protecting Finley right there.
Here comes the rush.
Finley drops it on underneath to Simmons. Simmons gets a little bit of it back at the 45-yard line.
Jalen Parker on the stop there. He's been pretty active today too, Matt.
Yeah, he has. Parker with 8 tackles today. 3rd down and long for Georgia State from the 45. Finley drops it off underneath. Ball goes to Simmons again, and Simmons, who's doing everything, gets to the 38. Let's see if the Panthers go for it on 4th down here.
It's that time of the game. I think you really have to.
I would think so. We're under 5 to go. It's 4th down and 5, lined against the 33. And the Panthers are down 12. Trying to get a win here at home. Get their first FBS win of the season. Ball goes to Hollier, and Hollier has the first down as he reaches the 31.
Young man continues to deliver when the team needs it.
4th catch of the game for the freshman. And it's 1st and 10 Georgia State as they're trying to get back in this game after they cut it to 24-18. They're down 12 again, and time's working against them. Approaching the 4-minute mark, and the Panthers do have all 3 timeouts remaining. Finley gets hit as he throws. It's complete to Hollier again. And Hollier's got another close to a first down. Looks like a 9-yard catch for him at the 22. Finley to the air and a jump ball, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Marvay Myers, the 3rd interception for Finley today, but we do have a flag down perhaps.
Got a whistle.
And it looks like Marshall might be caught playing with 12 on the field.
Defense, more than 11 players on the field at the snap. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Tony Gibson is going nuts over there on the sideline. I think they had a guy getting off the field late, and when the ball was snapped, they actually had 12 on the field.
And he is livid right now.
That's going to erase the interception by Myers and give the Panthers a first down at the 17-yard line. So the Panthers dodge a bullet right there. See if they can pay it off by getting a touchdown here and climb a little bit closer back into this game. Finley, ball in the air, deflected up into the air. So he tried to, and
got a flag here. Finley took a hit.
Finley was trying to get it to DJ Riles right there. Waiting on the penalty call from our officiating crew here. And
There is no foul for roughing the passer. The defender, there was no forcible contact to the quarterback.
Here's another look at it.
Interesting.
It was a bump.
Parker bumped him late. I don't know that that counts as roughing. The official right there thought so, but they pick it up. Second down and 10. Finley scrambling. Ball out. And did they get it in bounds? What's the call on the field? Clark Butler comes up with the ball, scooped it out of the air, but was he in bounds when he did that? No indication from the officials yet.
Marshall is saying they have the ball. Finley's
another
slow
look
getting
at
up after this.
It was hard to see because of the sideline.
There's a backwards pass out of bounds. It's Georgia State's ball at the spot.
They're going to call that a backwards pass. That's really a fumble out of bounds is what it is, because he got hit while he was in the air and that ball popped out of bounds. And Clark Butler made a great effort to try to save that ball from going out of bounds. But the Panthers, again, second time they've dodged a big bullet here, but time's running out on him. It's now down to 3:29.
No, they were trying to get out on the field and get lined up for a play before they got called for a
The previous play
review.
is under video review, whether or not the pass was forward and fumbled out, or backward pass out of bounds.
I know they keep calling this a pass. This in no way is a pass. That is not a pass. It's a fumble backwards. And the question was,
the play is under review, whether or not the ball was fumbled. Correction, the ruling on the field is under review whether or not the ball was recovered in or out of bounds.
so now he's calling it a fumble, which clearly it was. So take another look at it right here.
Watch the feet, watch the foot.
I think he steps out of bounds right there. I think by rule he can't come back in bounds and make the play.
And while they do have a video replay available to us on the big screen on the scoreboard, so people here at the game are seeing different versions of it as the review is taking place.
So here's another look at it. So Finley, so right there, okay, it's hard to tell. Right there it looks like he's in bounds. Yeah, right there it looks like he's got control and his foot is in bounds.
Yep, that left foot looks like it's in bounds on that replay.
So decision has been rendered.
After video review, the ball was recovered in bounds by Marshall. It will be Marshall's ball at the 25-yard line, first down.
So the Thundering Herd get it on the fumble by Finley. So Finley, with his third turnover of the day, he's thrown 2 interceptions. Now he's fumbled it. Of course, earlier in this series, he threw an interception that was erased by a penalty. And so that might be the last gasp for Georgia State in this game.
See some smiles over on the Marshall sideline.
They will be, if they hold on to get the victory here, they'll be one win away from bowl eligibility, and they will play at App State next Saturday and then host Georgia Southern in their regular season finale. The 3 turnovers for the Panthers today have been an absolute killer. It's really hard, Sam, to go -3 in the turnover margin and win a game.
Very hard, very hard. And that's definitely a big part of the problem here for Georgia State. Had their moments. We said from the outset, though, they needed 4 quarters. They needed 4 quarters of solid football today.
Third first, 30-second
Panthers
timeout.
used their first timeout as they try to stop the clock. This is their only course of action right here, is to try to get a stop, use their timeouts to keep the clock from bleeding out and get the ball back. And even if they do all of that, they still have to get 2 scores as you take a look at the final 2 games on the regular season schedule for Marshall. So if they hold on to get the victory here today to get to 5-5, they could become bowl eligible next Saturday at App State. And if they don't do it that Saturday, they can do it the next Saturday when they play host to Georgia Southern at Jones C. Edwards Stadium. And the Panthers, this is their home finale. The rest of the games are on the road. They'll be at Troy on November 22nd, a highly motivated Troy team that looks like they're going to get a second chance to stay in that Sun Belt West race, especially if that Texas State result against Southern Miss stands. And right now, the Bobcats were winning 20-0 in Hattiesburg, and then they'll wrap it up at Old Dominion. A team really playing some great football right now. They picked up their 7th win of the season with that 33-0 Thursday night victory against Troy. That 7 wins is the most for the Old Dominion program since 2016.
Wow, that is big for them. That is really big.
So that first down run right there further increases the chances the Panthers aren't going to get the ball back.
Yep, now below 3 minutes.
Handoff goes to Allen. Allen just batters into the middle of that line and falls forward to the 47. Carlos Del Rio Wilson in his homecoming in Atlanta, 22 of 27 for 321 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he was also their leading rusher with 94 yards on the ground. What a return for Carlos Del Rio Wilson. Last time he played in this stadium, December 2020, when he had Cartersville in the state championship game here in Georgia high school football. Looks like it's going to be a victorious day for Carlos Del Rio Wilson and the Marshall Thundering Herd as we have reached the 2-minute timeout in Atlanta. 2 minutes in Atlanta. Marshall on top of Georgia State, 30-18. Looks like the Thundering Herd will get the win. You see the scores. Stunner there in Hattiesburg. Texas State leading Southern Miss 27-0 at halftime. James Madison cruising against App State. ULM leading South Alabama at halftime as well. Coastal and Georgia Southern will kick off in about an hour in Statesboro. Del Rio Wilson going to run it, and that's going to be a new season and Marshall career high for Del Rio Wilson as he goes over 95 yards rushing in this game. He's close to 100. Coming up 3rd down and 1. Timeout used by Georgia State. They'll have 1 remaining.
Timeout. Please set the game clock to 1:54.
How about Del Rio Wilson? 98 yards rushing today.
Thank you.
So that puts him up over 400 yards of total offense today. 321 in the air, 98 on the ground. That's a good homecoming.
We talked about the kind of day he would hope to have playing back here today, back in town and back in this stadium, and he has done that. He's flashing that big smile now on the field after he makes certain plays.
Shout out to our crew, done a fantastic job this season. This will be our final ESPN Plus production for Georgia State football this year. Tariq Adams, our producer, Patrick Glory, our director, our EP, Amy Walker Seals, our AP, Matt Palecchio. Super job, and everybody else in the control room do such a fantastic job with these productions, and we appreciate it. So it's going to be 3rd down and 1 right here. Marshall can finish it off with a 1st down. And don't think they got it. So now it's going to be 4th down. And the Panthers will have to use their final timeout.
Timeout.
In the midst of this loss, a couple of highlights, and Jordan Simmons certainly one of them. 164 yards rushing today. That's top 5 single game performances in Georgia State history. And of course, 212 total yards. Had the longest touchdown run, or just the longest run of any kind. It happened to be a touchdown as well. 92 yards in this game.
And that was right practically from the start of this game. Big play that just gave the Panthers the lead and started a great day for him. You see the 164 yards on the ground.
And also lost in this game the 60-yard field goal, the program record 60-yard field goal by Braden McAllister. All those, of course, both of those coming in a losing effort today. On 4th and 1, looks like Marshall will punt it away. So the Panthers are going to get the ball back.
Well, let's see how far this one goes, man.
It's another good one. Fair catch is made at the 9. And so that is going to be a 42-yarder. That's his shortest kick of the day. But he didn't have enough field to work with. He needed to back up about 30 yards.
He's been nailing them all day.
He has. He's been impressive, and don't often speak that glowingly of a punter. But when you got a guy who's bombed 3 50-plus, in fact, they were close to 60. He had 2 58s and a 59 today. I think a 42 and a 48. So his average is well over 50 for the day. That's pretty good.
Very good. That is simply awesome.
So the Panthers go on offense for the final time here at home this season. Finley stands in there, drops it off to Simmons. Simmons going to add to his total on the catch right there and pick up 8 on the play. You see this performance by Simmons, and of course you start thinking, wow, would have been great had we had some of this, had the Panthers had some of this earlier in the year. And it's going to be caught by the Panthers, Robinson, as it ricochets off of Simmons' hands.
Right place, right time.
We had movement before the snap. Penalty flags fly out.
False start. Offense. Number 69. 5-yard penalty. It's 1st down. This
That's
foul qualifies
McCrimmon
for a 10-second runoff. Please reset the game clock to 1:05. 1:05 on the game clock, please. It will start on my signal.
So the Panthers will fall to 1-9, 0-6 in the conference, and they'll have 2 more chances to try to get that FBS and Sun Belt win this season. Looking more and more difficult. Ball goes to Simmons again. Wow. Hope he gets a double portion of whatever serving for supper.
He's more than earned it. He's given an effort.
And fun to watch him play. Young man who grew up here in Atlanta and went off and played elsewhere before coming back to Atlanta for his final season. Simmons was at McEachern. They were a surprise upset loser in the first round of the playoffs last night here in the state of Georgia. Started his career at Michigan State, then he was at Akron. Went to Ole Miss, never played there, and now here late in his career with the Panthers, having a big run.
Wasn't able to pull that one in.
He looks like he's worn out. Fourth down, Panthers going for it. 23 seconds remaining on the clock. Ball is delivered for a first down. Panthers will get another play as Hollier makes the catch. They're going to have time to run a play or maybe even 2 before this is done. Hollier, again, another one of those freshmen, like we said, all day long. He is coming on strong late. That's his 6th catch of the day. Finley spikes the ball, stopping the clock with 13 seconds. So good when you see guys like Tony Gibson, 52 years old, get his first head coaching assignment. I think when you get to that age, you start wondering whether it's ever going to happen for you.
Right. And the circumstances surrounding it.
Then right place, right time for the Van, West Virginia native. Finley going to throw it out here, complete to Hollier. Again, he's going to get cut down inbounds. That was Waddle actually on the catch, and that should be the final play of the game, and it is. Marshall, 30-18 winners as the Thundering Herd improved to 5-5 on the season, 3-3 in the Sun Belt Conference, and they'll have 2 more games, Sam, to get 1 win and reach bowl eligibility.
They're going to have to do it on the road. A couple of difficult places that they're going to go, and a couple of teams with a lot of incentive to go out and give their best. It's going to be difficult.
Well, they'll be at App next week, but then they'll be back home against Georgia Southern in their regular season finale. So they've got 2 opportunities here in the next couple of weeks, and you got to feel with the momentum that Coach Gibson has built in this program, they're going to accomplish that and go to a bowl game here in the upcoming month of December. Meantime, Panthers, the beat goes on. It's been a long, hard season, and it continues on, and it will continue on the road the next couple of weeks.
That is what's left on the schedule for them. They had the opportunity today here at home. Just a hard time putting those 4 quarters together. And when you get 3 turnovers like that, difficult to overcome.
Big performance by Carlos Del Rio Wilson in his homecoming. He throws for 321. He rushes for 97. Jordan Simmons, star of the day for the Panthers, as he rushes for 164 and also catches 64. Big days for both those guys. Marshall gets the dub, 30-18. And now for my partner, Sam Crenshaw, our statistician, Kevin Barnes, our entire ESPN Plus crew. I'm Matt Stewart. So long from Center Park Credit Union Stadium, where Marshall gets their 5th victory of the season.